Today's guest is Dustin Rhodes. Dustin is a custom knife maker and blacksmith. He has appeared on the television shows Forged in Fire and Master of Arms. He also has a business called Axe on Main in St. Elmo, Illinois, where he teaches forging and knife and tomahawk and axe throwing. His custom knives can be found in numerous publications. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy my conversation with Dustin Rhodes. Thank you. So, Dustin, thank you for being here today. I appreciate it, brother.
Thanks for having me.
I hope the drive up was okay. I know it was I'm hillbilly land here, so it's kind of
The hillbilly roads were a lot smoother than coming up 128, actually.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I got into Cowden there, and I was like, oh, yeah. Now I remember.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here. You're a custom knife maker.
Mm-hmm.
You have been... you've been in Blade Magazine stuff. You've been on television, Forged in Fire, Master of Arms. You've been around. So how do you get into knife? As a young man, what was it like your childhood?
Well, we grew up in the oil field, so that's an ideal place not to grow up. It's heavily polluted. You're dealing with all those aspects. So we didn't have a whole lot of income, and I always liked knives, and I remember watching, we'd watch movies like Conan and
The Riddle of Steel.
Oh, yeah, and then the American Ninja movies and all that stuff, and then eventually we got a hold of like the Smoky Mountain Knife Works catalog, and all the cool stuff they had in there of varying qualities and designs, and we couldn't afford any of that, so it was like, wow, I want to learn how to make this. Well, you start watching the movies back then, and you take a piece of metal and you heat it up and you do this, and which is really inconsistent as far as what they show. Like in Conan, they show them doing a Bronze Age casting of an later Iron Age sword, and casting iron does not work well as far as trying to make something as a blade.
Okay.
So my family got into frontier reenactment. So when I was about 10 or 12, I started forging. I tell people I started when I was 12. I started when I was 10, and I burnt the hell out of myself in the campfire for about 2 years.
Right.
And then I learned, and I actually started turning out some really mediocre product, beginner pieces.
Well, you're 10.
Right.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
But everyone in the rendezvous, in the frontier reenactment, had some form of a trade or something they did. So, some people just went and camped and had some drinks and dressed up and whatever. Other people did demonstrations. My dad, he does beadwork. He still does beadwork today. My mom does costuming. And I was like, I'm going to do blacksmithing. Well, I found out real quick that rusty iron was something that was a little harder to sell, and that if you put a little bit of shine on it, especially like a blade, that it would work to your advantage.
Okay.
And I found out I could get more money out of knives than I could with some mild square stock camp sets and whatever. I got more bang for my buck out of that.
I saw a thing on I think it was YouTube, and a guy was talking about a striker that you had made, a flint and steel striker down south, and he was praising how quality it was. So people don't think about it, but there's a lot more than, especially in rendezvous type stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, historically, blacksmiths were like the center of society. They really were, because they could make weapons. They could make nails. Nails were a big thing back in the day. Being able to construct buildings and so forth. Your campware. Once you get into the firearm age, being able, you've got a gun. Well, now maybe we've got to repair it. Absolutely,
Sure.
So during war times, how do you go ahead and take care of this village? Well, if we want to get rid of them, definitely kill the blacksmith, or if he's good, bring him along. We're going to take him and we're going to use him. You know?
It only makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it only makes sense to utilize what's there or to remove what's keeping that area functional.
So it was basically the rendezvous is what got you into.
Yeah, rendezvous and just a general interest in knives. And then many years went by. So, I mean, like at this point, I think this is going to be what I'm like 31 years I've been doing this in like September. And this is exclusively what I do as far as income.
Right.
But yeah, so like I've used my knife making to pay bills, to buy properties. I mean, vehicles, go on vacations.
It's done well for you.
Yeah. And I had people in the beginning tell me, well, I just kind of like after I did Forged in Fire, rather, would say, you know, oh, well, anybody could do that, you know, if if you could make money off of making knives, I mean, everybody'd be doing it. It'd be like, oh man, it'd be kind of like, you know, if you could put some seeds in the ground and grow them and make money, well, everybody'd be doing it. It's like, I appreciate your narcissism. Go over in the corner and die.
Number one, it's a craft.
Right.
I mean, it's an art form. But it's an art form that's utility, and to me, that's what's brilliant about it, and that's what I think so many people are fascinated with it. I mean, you know, here we are in 2024. You know, we're recording this on a computer and all the, but at the end of the day, you know, a guy banging on a piece of steel and making something tangible that will never go away.
Right. Well, and at the same time, when I was in high school, you know, you think about career day, where you go to college or you talk to different people about about what they do. I think we were told that we could, if we worked, we could go be a cashier, and if we just went and were a cashier at a gas station, we'd make a total of $8,000 a year, and you know, that's the most you'd ever make. I mean, they had no clue what the hell they were doing or talking about at the time.
Right.
They said you had to go to college, accrue all this debt, and
look at the resurgence in the trades right now. People are starting to realize.
I think they told us we could basically go for, we could be a welder, we could, you know, go into engineering or be a doctor, or we could be a carpenter or something like that. But like they gave us like 5 options. That's all there was in life. And small towns a lot of times, you know, at least in the 90s, nobody had ever been out, so nobody knew.
Right.
You know, we're just looking at that point of people getting into the internet and being
sure.
like, oh my God.
Right. There's a whole world out there, and people
absolutely
make a living doing a lot of different things. Yeah, absolutely. So who are when you're learning your craft, you're coming along as a young man, doing something that a lot of people don't do it's a niche.
Right.
Who are your earliest influences? Were there, I mean, did you have anybody really to guide you?
I'm mostly self-taught. Most of the people that I talked to that were blacksmiths had varying opinions and didn't want to deal with a smart-ass kid, you know?
Sure.
There were some early influences. I remember my dad's disabled, so we were going to one of his doctor's appointments, and there was a Field and Stream or outdoor magazine of some sort there, and it had Daniel Winkler in it. Okay. Daniel Winkler did a lot of the weaponry for Last of the Mohicans. So Magwa's Tomahawk.
Right,
and,
okay.
You know, and I thought that was really cool.
Which, man, I hate to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Magwa's Tomahawk, you hit something. Is that the one that's like a rifle? And then the blade is where the flash pan?
No, that is actually, that was one of the Mohicans. Chingachgook or something.
Okay.
Yeah, he had the Gunstock War Club.
Well, I remember reading one time that a lot of the native tribes in that area were doing that because when they first encountered Europeans and they would see the flash of the pan, they thought there was magic there. Yeah. So they would make a wooden stock similar to that, and then they would put their blades there. Yeah. Because they thought that was a magical.
Yeah, and that's there. there may be some truth to that. I don't know. I know it's pretty common with a lot of tribal societies that when they encountered Europeans, for the most part, that they started to copy the weapons. So in some of the Pacific Islanders' war clubs, they look remarkably similar to a cutlass.
Yeah.
It's tropical hardwood with shark teeth, but they were copying for what they could. And
Sure.
yeah, I mean, there's absolutely a lot of reverence for muzzle-loading firearms at the time, as well as just from a distance, you can't tell if it's the war club or the rifle. And I'm sure, a matter of intimidation on that. Oh, hey, we've got ball head war clubs and some trade knives here, and it looks like those guys have rifles. Not to mention the additional, with that inward curve, the amount of the amount of torque, the amount of additional leverage you're getting with a strike. You turn it around and use that blade. It's devastating whether it's a good blade or whether it's a subpar blade. Or
I've only talked to you twice.
Yeah.
Well, I guess a couple more.
A couple times.
A couple times. What amazes me is your understanding of history. And I guess that has to kind of go with it. Is you have to almost be part historian with this.
A lot of people do. Some people are more engineers about it. And there's an amount of engineering that goes into the processes, of course. But and that's kind of funny that you mentioned on the historian part, because I hated history in high school. I liked watching, Gunsmiths of Colonial Williamsburg when they showed that, and making the hatchet and welding the chain and all that stuff, and that was cool. However, I hated remembering dates.
Yeah.
What did they sign in somewhere in Pennsylvania in 17? I can really care less.
Right. Yeah. There's so much.
At least at the time,
There's so much, I think, a lot of times in history classes that sometimes they don't focus on the really cool stuff. They kind of gloss over it.
Well, and that's, with marketing or with education, when you're trying to get someone's attention, don't be the monotone, oh, here are the basic facts. Okay, that's great. You definitely caught my attention. Probably not unless I'm very interested in it. You have to capture someone's interest.
Sure.
And that's the thing, if they say, hey, talk about the battle or what was going on in the economy at the time or what life was like, visualize that and create interest.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah, because there's so much out there. Well, if you don't
especially
understand
with kids,
if you don't understand your history, you're doomed to repeat it, as they say. So,
I think we do a lot of that here.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. So I apologize. I kind of got
I got
you derailed a little bit. You were talking about your earlier influences.
Yeah, earlier influences. So, like Daniel Winkler was one that I saw in a magazine, and I thought he talked about starting out using I think it was a shop vac, it turned on reverse to feed the fire of a coal or charcoal forge. I don't remember, something homemade, and then using a claw hammer. And I was like, hey, I've got a claw hammer, so I started burning myself. And eventually I got some blacksmith tongs. So that was a big plus. But yeah, so like others that I could think of, there were some local guys, the barber in St. Elmo, Larry Stolte. He was a blacksmith. And then Doug Inglejohn, they were both blacksmiths. I still talk to them on occasion.
It sounds like there wasn't a whole lot of information out there. I mean, I guess there probably was, maybe in books but pre-internet age and all of that. So, kids nowadays don't understand that you couldn't just grab your phone and find something out.
And I bought The Art of Blacksmithing by Alex W. Beeler. In fact, I don't know who has my copy right now, but if you're listening to this, please return it. I'd like to read it again. But I bought a lot of books because there was information. There was like the Foxfire books, and that's great when they talk, Foxfire, how to make a knife out of a piece of saw blade. Well, what they talk about doing the heat treat, bringing up cherry red and quenching in oil or water. No, that's not your best means of doing so. It's more involved than that, but it works for that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
There's a matter of, there's more than one way to get from point A to point B. And then the Buck Skinner books, and then going on from there, just a couple years ago, I was fortunate enough to get asked to be a contributing author to Next Level Knife Making, which I think is available on Amazon. I'd have to look to see.
Okay.
At least it was.
The name of the book is
Next Level Knife Making.
Okay.
I was contributing author on, I can't remember what chapter. That's terrible, isn't it?
Well, the older we get.
The older we get.
And you, no pun intended, but I think you got a lot of irons in the fire.
Absolutely, yeah. And, there's a lot of sayings, strike while hot, too many irons in the fire, different, that are in reference to blacksmithing that we still use today to a degree.
Right.
So early influence, once we got into Rendezvous, there'd be guys who were grinding knives out of files or pieces of spring or God knows what. Some of the materials were really terrible. Just general pieces of scrap metal that they had about. And, I'd talk to them. How do you do this? Of course, I've got a belt sander so I can finish mine out better than yours. And it's like, that's awesome if you want to know how many I've got today. But, at the time, it's I'm doing better than you. And it's like, okay, well, that's cool. Why don't we celebrate our differences and exchange information instead of trying to
one up each other?
Yeah.
I think you're going to see that in anything you do in life. There's always those guys.
Absolutely. And they're the best ones to just give them a thumbs up and say, hey, you do you.
Yeah. Pleasure meeting you. Have a nice day.
Yeah. You have a great one.
You mentioned materials earlier, and steel is something that I've always been, I think, fascinated by. So what makes for a knife maker? What makes a piece of steel? What do you look for?
Well, and that's really, that's a broad question. So when you're looking for an ideal steel, a lot of people will ask, what is the best steel for a knife, sword, something? And there's really not one good answer. You're looking for appropriate carbon content. If you're looking for durability, you're looking for stain resistance, not necessarily stainless, but flexibility, hardness, wear resistance. There are so many factors that go into that. And not only does that involve your alloying all the different metallic elements that go into the steel, like chromium, nickel, carbon, manganese, anything like that. What you're also looking at is you're looking at the process of making that. We can take the best, metallurgically superior material out here, and we can put a terrible grind on it. We can put a terrible edge geometry.
Mm-hmm.
And we can do a subpar heat treat or not do a heat treat. And it may be the best material, but it's not getting its full potential.
Okay.
It's right. Take a very accurate sniper rifle.
Okay.
Oh, you should probably say hunting rifle because sniper's going to piss off some people.
They can just be mad.
Yeah, they're probably not listening to this anyway.
Exactly.
So you can take the most accurate rifle with the best ammunition and the best optics. And you can not sight it in. You can give it to someone who is not a marksman by any means. And let's say terrible lighting condition, just in general, make it not ideal.
Sure.
And you still don't have the best rifle in the world. You have, so the equivalent would be taking a very ideal material for making a blade and dropping it down to some wrought iron, something soft, devoid of carbon for the most part, or with slag inclusions, things that would make it weak. You've got to go through the process of starting with good material, or ideal material at least. From there, the process of turning it into a blade. Now, once we get it ground and everything, will it cut? Yeah. But realistically, we don't have that blade until we've got the heat treat. Until we have that, when it comes to life and frustrates the hell out of you in the process.
Right.
You know, we deal with warpage and everything else. Lot of.
Can you look at a piece of metal? If I was to hand you, like, 3 pieces, can you just, I mean, with your experience,
right,
can you look at it and say, this is better?
I can give a pretty good educated guess. There's some basic tests. One, if you can bend it with your hands, it's too soft. Right. If it flexes and goes back, then, you got like a saw blade or something to that effect.
Sure.
It's probably okay. Some of that may just be more flexible and tough, but may not have as good edge retention.
Okay. Which comes down to your hardness.
A lot of it does come down to hardness, but it also comes down to your edge geometry.
Okay. So somebody that's listening to this that knows nothing about knives, the goal is you obviously don't want it soft because it'll lose its edge.
Right.
So you want it hard, but you don't want it too hard because if it gets too hard, then that metal becomes brittle and it'll break.
It can.
So there's a fine.
There is. There's a matter of balance. There's a matter of balance in everything. There's a matter of balance in life, relationships, nature.
Absolutely.
Just in the world itself, and. So a lot of people are like, oh, you want that edge really hard. Okay. No. Okay. Let's talk about a couple of myths on things. That one, like the Japanese swords were always razor sharp and were the best steel and everything. A Japanese sword essentially is a tribal blade made from local materials that was refined to a point that they did the best they could with what they had.
Sure.
A lot of those blades were not tempered. They were hardened and had between 0.4 and 0.6-ish percent carbon content. So
now, is that considered high? Is that considered low? That's very low.
0.4 is going to be about what we refer to a high carbon railroad spike. It wouldn't be a cutlery grade, but it's tough. 0.6 is going to be maybe in the range of like a hammer.
Okay.
So you're looking at toughness there. Now they use refractory. They use clay to differentially harden those majority of those blades. Where they folded up, yes, that distributed carbon content helped to remove some of the titanium, the copper, things like that were natural occurring in the iron sand in the area.
Well, you talk about the folding, and that's one of the things from earlier. You said like the '80s ninja shows and all that, and they would find when this sword's been folded, so many 100 or 1,000 times, and is that really a thing? I mean, as far as no,
not at all. Now, somebody right now is going to go, "Oh no, there's so many layers." Well, you don't start with one piece and fold it once. You stack it. So you start with, let's say you've got 20 pieces.
Okay,
you've got 20 layers to begin with, or even 10. Let's say 10 layers. You got 10 layers of tomahawk, or let's just say we go to my shop. We take some 15 and 20 and 1095.
Okay,
we stack it up 10 layers and we fold it once. Now, how many layers do we have? We've got 20.
We got 20 because you started with 10.
Right. Next, we fold it again. So second fold, we get 40 layers. Third, we get 80. Now we have 160. 320. 5 layers, we got 320. Next fold is going to give us 640. Now we're at 1280. I'm eventually not going to be able to...
Well, yeah, exponential growth.
Okay, so 1,280 layers after 7 folds. If you continue to do this, eventually you're going to be pretty devoid of carbon because each weld zone is a zone of decarburization using that technique.
Okay.
So you're putting soft material in, which having some soft material in there may prevent something from breaking completely, but a cracked blade, a broken blade, either way, it's, there is failure. Uh-huh. But what I'm saying on that, if to say, oh, it was folded 1,000 times, no, it wasn't. You would burn away all your material by that point.
Okay.
Now, 1,000 layers, yes. 100,000 layers, yes. 1,000,000 layers, absolutely. You can do that. Is it going to be superior to the steel that we have today? No, it's not. But they did the best they could with the material they had. So folding it up, the more you fold that, the more stable it becomes. I was working with some meteorite. Actually, one of my pieces, it's published in Knives 2023, page 227.
Is this the one that shocked me when you told
Yes,
me. Okay, yeah. Please get into that.
Yeah,
blade.
it's meteorite Damascus. So nickel iron meteorite out of Brazil. That's where it fell. It came out of space originally, is my understanding.
And how awesome is that?
Right. Well, in nickel iron meteorite, there's usually a lot of fractures through it, and there was on this. So I did it up as a canister. I used some 1095 powder, put some 15N20 in there too. And I had to, I did my first canister weld. Then I brought it, I drew it out, I cut it up, I cleaned it, I put it in another canister with some more 1095 powder because all those fractures started opening up in the meteorite.
Okay.
So that filled that, everything welded together, and after that, it was cut and restack, doing wet welds, using flux. And from there, like, your material starts to move more consistently. So think of dry Play-Doh.
All right.
Dry Play-Doh, you start working with it, what happens? It starts chunking off. It starts falling apart.
Sure.
Okay, so if you take that and you add some moisture and you start working it back and forth, eventually you have more of a homogeneous material.
Right.
Now, if you're trying to create a more homogeneous steel, you fold it up. There will be very, very fine layers, or the layers won't be visible if you get it high enough.
Okay.
High enough count. In this case, I wanted to show this material. So I had to stabilize it for what I could in the welding process. Is it going to make the best blade? No. Is it going to show that, hey, Dustin can do this? Yeah. So what did I do? Well, one, I used meteorite. I use 100-plus-year-old wrought iron for the fittings, and I use human femur bone for the handle.
That's the one that got me.
And I've had so many people come up, and some of them get absolutely offended. And just
really,
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, people get stupid about everything.
Well, that's true,
and they don't realize that I make it a point to always have at least one firearm on me, and it's not a good idea to come at me in an aggressive manner. We were taught you fire center body mass and then T-zone to drop them.
Double tap 21 feet.
That's right. Yeah. But that was a different means of employment at the time.
Yeah.
But anyway. So some people would get really offended by it, and they'd be like, that's illegal. You can't have that. I said, really? Well, how many femur bones do you have if it's illegal? I said, this has never been in the ground. This was never buried. This is a retired medical specimen.
Yep.
There are a few states where it's restricted in. I said, whoever this person was, and this isn't a person anymore. This is a
their soul is gone.
Their soul is gone, and this is not the body. This is part of a. I mean, if I hope I don't cut my finger off today. But if I did, am I going to be like, oh, this is me? No,
that's a chunk of.
Now I got to put a Band-Aid on and go back to work because I got stuff to do.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But
they donated their body to science.
They donated their body to science. They were okay with it. Not only were they okay with it, their families were okay with it.
Absolutely.
In doing so. Those remains, if you will, were used to promote education and to teach others, to help others, and to save lives. And now that they've been retired, they're not going to bury them. It has went on market. Now, I've had some people tell me, they'll be like, oh, somebody could get a hold of that and do witchcraft. And it's like, all right, this isn't...
Boy, that's a stretch.
This isn't 1700 Salem, guys.
See, that never even dawned on me.
People get weird. They really do.
When you told me about it, my only thought was the legality of it. That was, as far as, but yeah, like you said.
And I can tell you why I did it. It's shock factor.
Sure.
It is marketing. It is shock factor. It is wow. It is,
that's
I can't
smart.
believe, hey, I'm going to talk about this. Now, whether it is positive or negative PR can be positive if properly managed.
It will open up a door for you
absolutely
to talk about what you've just talked about, and you still have that piece for sale.
Yeah,
I've
still got that piece. It was actually it's nationally published. I mean, technically, I'm sure people overseas at Blade Magazine. The Blade Show is the world's largest knife show. I won't be attending this year. We've got some other obligations, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but. We usually go. Myself and Cheyenne. We'll go to Blade Show, but that knife is It's nationally published. It's internationally known. It is award-winning, and I have people ask me, they're like, well, how much? I said, well, I'll tell you what, for $12,000, you too can own it.
There you go.
And that'll go towards my Get Me Out of Illinois fund.
Yeah, it seems like, I understand.
A lot of people can probably relate to that.
100% I understand. Let's get into the show.
Yeah.
So you did Forged in Fire before Master of Arms?
Yeah, I did Forged in Fire. I think it was 2017. About 2015, I got hurt. Had to sell most of my antique sword collections, guns, motorcycle, truck, different things like that to make ends meet, keep the house.
Sure.
This show, Forged in Fire, comes out, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, as I'm hobbling around with two canes, my back's messed up and everything. Eventually, I start getting better. And it'd been about 6 months I hadn't been walking with a cane, and I had applied, and I was supposed to go on season 3. It was to cover somebody scheduling issue. Someone couldn't make it. They said, hey, could you do this? We'd be flying you out in 3 days. I'm like, yeah, I'll make it happen. They got a hold of me the night before, and they're like, we resolved the matter. I said, okay, well, thank you. Put the feelers out on social media for season 4. And so I sent them, instead of, hey, hi, I'm Dustin Rhodes. This is my information. I sent them an email that said, hey, Dustin Rhodes, I applied for season 3. I was supposed to be on, or something or I applied for season 3. I'm still interested, whatever. I was in December, a week or two later, I get an email. Dustin, we really wanted you on season 3. We couldn't fit you on. Would you consider being on season 4 and early? And I said, okay. So I was working, I'd just taken a full-time job, only been there a few months. And I get the email, hey, you're flying out in 6 days. And I'm like, oh, wow. Now, I'd worked stage. I'd worked, different productions before.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
I worked, I was operations manager for Alverson Sound. I was a technical director at the EPC at one point.
Oh, okay. I love that place.
Did different things like that. And it was, working with production crews is terrible.
Really?
And this was much worse.
Okay.
Just communication-wise, because there's so many people you've got to go through.
Right.
And so everything ended up being pretty last minute on things. And with that, so I went to my boss. I'm like, hey, I applied for this TV show. They knew I made knives. I said, I applied for this TV show and et cetera. I said, I have to fly out in 6 days.
Now, was it popular at the time? I mean, had it been out, people?
It was just gaining popularity. So, season 3, I don't think it had. I don't remember how many episodes it had.
All right.
So, the first season was maybe 8 episodes. Maybe the second one was 12, or I don't remember. They gained, and then we were going to be 30 episodes or something like that, and then they added to it. It was either 20 and they went to 30, or 30 and they went higher. I don't remember. But anyway, so we were the second episode that filmed, and now for those who've done some of this or who've worked with television, reality TV, just because you film in sequence doesn't mean it's coming out in sequence. So we're like, okay, so we're the second one, did our thing, and we're like, okay, well, I wonder if I wonder if we'll be the second one. That'd be cool, because the earlier you're on, you're looking at more reruns, more views. I didn't go on to win. I went on to promote my business.
Sure.
And, put the fear of God into young men who want to date my daughter. That actually ended up in both shows. That was kind of neat. So anyway, it went on, and it was an experience. It was very stressful. It's very taxing mentally, physically.
I cannot imagine, because you're not in your place. You're not using your materials. They give you, anybody that hasn't seen the show, you got to watch it. They give you material. You start making a knife that they tell you, and it may be a design you've never made. It may be material you've never made. Then you've got the cameras. You're competing. Anytime you do anything for competition, that adds a layer of stress. I don't care if you're shooting marbles. And then you've got a panel of experts that are up there judging you. I can't imagine. That had to have been incredibly stressful.
I I mean, it wasn't terrible because I've never had a problem telling somebody no or telling somebody to get the hell out of the way.
Right.
But at the same time, you want to be
cordial.
You want to be cordial for the most part. At the same time, you're trying not to set the cameraman on fire.
Right.
So that gets interesting. You've got 7 or 8 cameramen on the floor. They've also got, overheads and so forth. And you'll have a storyline producer come up. Now, I'm not going to go too far into it because I am still signed to NDAs.
All right. Non-disclosure
agreements on certain matters. I think I've signed to some of those on some shows I didn't do. I was supposed to, but then the COVID monster happened.
Oh, yeah.
And,
we got to shut down everything for that.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, so, like, I'm up there and I'm forging. You've got all these cameramen, and you're trying not to set them on fire. You've got to be mindful. And you have a storyline producer come up. Storyline producer takes what is going on and creates what they want to happen.
Sure.
Okay, so
maybe we can create drama if there is none.
Right. Or maybe we can edit it to, editing's
gotcha.
a wonderful thing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Or terrible, however you want to look at it. And so they'll come up to you, and I remember at one point, they're like, okay, Dustin, so what are you most concerned about right now? I'm most concerned about trying to get this damn knife done while I got a cameraman and somebody talking to me at the time, which I
did
think
they edit that out?
I think I was nicer about it on that part. So I was like, okay, well, let me look into this whole matter, get my knife together. Of course, in previous episodes, previous seasons, if you had to do any forge welding, they gave you an extra hour. They didn't we had the 3 hours. So I was like, okay, I've got a high carbon, high chromium steel ball bearing the size of a golf ball. I'm going to forge that out into a blade. And then I'm going to take these golf ball or golf club heads, and
which was the material you had to work with.
Right, the materials I had to work with, and I'm going to forge them out, and I'm going to make a tang extension and sandwich it on. So, of course, they're going to use what they have. Now, there is what we call a cold shut or a cold set. You used to say cold set, now it's more of a cold shut. And that is where a weld is visible. It may have, you can see the weld. Okay. I should have ground it down. I didn't. And I'm like, okay.
Well, you're fighting the clock, too.
I'm fighting the clock. I was doing okay time-wise, but realistically, my tang was 3/8 of an inch thick. Was it narrow? It was somewhat narrow, but it was 3/8 of an inch thick. So, okay.
And on a blade like that, how thick do you want your tang to be?
3/8 of an inch thick is too damn thick.
You want it thinner.
Generally, you do, but they're going to abuse this. They're going to do things to your knives that you should not do to knives.
Sure.
But it is a competition.
Right.
So I, when they brought it up and they're like, oh, that, this weld, whatever, was I going to go back and weld it, with the arc weld or wire welder, I'm sorry, that they had there. I wasn't. I probably should have. Maybe I would have got to finals. I don't know. But my blade, and I'm going to do air quotes here for those of you who can't see it, my blade broke. I'm not going to contest that. And as I said on the show, I would not disagree with the judge's decisions. And that also has to do with being under contract, NDAs, and so forth. So did I have to win? No. Was I worried about 10 grand? Man, 10 grand ain't, man, that ain't
right,
nothing
yeah,
at this point.
Right, yeah.
I mean, for legal purposes and in case, tax man's out there, I definitely haven't made very much money doing this, but I've definitely lived a much better life as a result.
Right. How were the judges? Did they come
judges
out?
Are great.
Did they talk to you guys at all beforehand? Did you meet them?
A little bit. Now that you're limited contact, because they don't. It's just legal matters,
Okay.
Part of the contracts and agreements. After my elimination, after my blade definitely broke on on TV that I will not contest.
There
that.
we go. Right. Yeah.
Because anyway, a lot of people got a hold of me after that, and they're like, I don't think, I'm like, I can't talk about it. We should have a beer sometime.
It broke and leave it at that.
It broke. There was a failure. I was eliminated. I don't have a problem with that. Life goes on.
Right, yeah.
They're like, hey, the judges want to talk to you. And I was like, okay. Well, if you've ever seen me or seen any of the shows I'm on, I'm heavily tattooed. So a lot of things we have in common are guns, knives, swords, tattoos, motorcycles, hunt, fish. This is what we do.
Sure.
Most of us know which bathroom to use.
Right, yeah.
And we don't care about what your pronouns are. We accept you for how you are, and life goes on.
Right, exactly.
Love one another, don't create hate. You know?
Yeah, God bless.
Absolutely.
You do you, I do me.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. As long as it don't hurt anybody or any kids, we're fine with it. If it does, bury your ass.
There you go. There's a big river between me and you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So, anyway, they're like, the judges want to talk to you. And I was like, okay. So, went out and met him. And, of course, I'm going, I've got Jason Knight's there. So, he's an ABS Mastersmith. And Jason's a cool dude. Dave Baker's there. Dave's a cool dude. Motorcycle rider, all that. Doug Marqueta, martial artist. I've got a martial arts background as well.
He's the one I think most people know just because of his catchphrase.
Oh yeah,
it will kill.
Yeah, absolutely.
It will kill. Yeah.
And then Will Willis was there. That's before he took his leave, and he's got a military special ops background, I believe. Right? I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
So these are alpha male types. They're and knowledgeable men.
Yeah, and I've just been eliminated because my piece did not make it had a failure or whatever.
Okay.
So I'm like, well, I said, I'm not I'm not like an ABS Mastersmith or anything. At this point, I'm like, oh God, this is like having to go talk to your teacher after you failed the spelling test. Didn't you study?
Right.
And one thing Jason Knight said to me, which has stuck with me a long time, is he said, I'm a student. Personally, that he was a student. He's an ABS Mastersmith. He's a student. And to me, that was like, God, I don't remember what year it was, 2014 maybe. I got my master ranking in Shori Goju Ryu. And every time I would move up when I was in martial arts, it was like, I felt like I was starting into something new. Not starting over, but starting into something new. There's more knowledge and all that. You've always got to be the student. You can be the master, but when you quit learning, that's when you become closed-minded.
I'm a second degree black belt in Kempo Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
When I got my black belt, I understand exactly what you mean. It was almost intimidating. I went through a phase where we were doing a lot of ground, like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Kind of Kempo, the type of Kempo Jiu-Jitsu I did is kind of a bastardized art. It's like half kickboxing, half ground.
A lot of it's mixed.
Everything's mixed.
It's not MMA, but there's different.
Yeah, it basically is. So when I'd roll with somebody, it was like, okay, I'm a black belt now. I can't let anybody get the best of me. I can't let this guy. Well, this guy might have been a 3-time, state qualifying wrestler.
Right.
And he's coming in, and even though he doesn't have any jiu-jitsu, the kid's a killer on the mat, And so I had to I know exactly what you mean. It's like, okay, so what? It's like having a college degree. That doesn't mean you're smarter than somebody. It just means you went through and you passed all the courses you need to do that to be at this level. And that's the way I kind of approached it.
Well, with teaching,
learning.
you don't always have to kick somebody's ass.
Absolutely.
But it's also about encouraging, and it's about spreading the knowledge. It's about promoting the art. And,
right.
that goes with any kind of craft, any kind of art, martial arts, blade arts, music, whatever.
We never stop learning. And if you think you know it all, well, then you're already gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, they get that God complex, and
look at me, look what I've done.
Right.
Well, yeah. So what? You're a beginner that never quit.
Yeah.
In any of these things,
I've got an awesome resume right now, which will prevent me from getting most jobs, because they look at it and they're like, and your income oh my God, you make more than let's not.
Yeah.
I'd kind of like to work a job, but you guys have a great one. Stop by and throw axes sometime.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've had some hobby jobs, and when they don't have they don't have that grip on you of you will do this because we're handing you some peanuts so you can scrape by, it don't work well for them.
Right.
Or if you're large enough to beat the living shit out of them.
Right.
And what are they going to do? Fire you?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So
So overall on the show, Forged in Fire, positive experience.
Positive. It was now 3 people from my shop have went.
Okay.
Yeah, the second person was Josh Nicolaitis. He was season 6, episode 3. He won. So if you watch the final part where they're doing the home shop, that's actually my home shop before renovations.
Okay.
And one of his shooter producers bought the golf clubs for my episode.
Really?
I still cooked him food. I still made him some barbecue ribs. But I was like, dude.
Yeah. You hurt me here. Yeah.
You're an ass, That was like some of the worst material you could go with. But hey, whatever. Here. Yeah.
It turned out well for you.
It turned
overall.
out okay. Yeah, absolutely.
So now you do the Master of Arms, the Forged in Fire is on the History Channel, and the
Master
other one
of Arms was Discovery.
Discovery
They only ran
Channel.
one season. I get there. Master of Arms was cool. I think that was 2018. I did that. Once my 12-month contract was up, which they can call me back at any point, but once that obligation was up to where I couldn't do any other TV shows, I did some local interest stuff with Steve Nichols from WAND TV. He's no longer with WAND.
Okay.
But with Steve, he came out, he did some interest stories and all that. I went on and I did Master of Arms, and Master of Arms was cool. We only did one season. A lot of people are like, oh my God, they're trying to do Forged in Fire. I'm like, the people who were behind the scenes were calling me by my first name because they're like, I don't know if you remember, but we worked together back out in New York. I'm like, yeah, Duffy, how's it going, man? They were coming up to me going, hey, you got an extra cigarette? I smoked at the time. I don't anymore. I'm glad not to,
Right.
But I did at the time, and, crew's coming up, bumming smokes. We're shooting the shit and whatever.
So it was really late. It
was cool, yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had already been through. I had a divorce between the two TV shows, so there were some life-changing events and a lot of positive things as a result of that. Not something it's a rough point in your life, but
sure.
Life is a hell of a lot better now. So anyway, that'll piss a few people off.
Well, that's all right.
So anyway, go do Master of Arms, and the judges come out, and I'll back up just a little bit. I had two shooter producer, or two. I had a shooter producer. I had two.
Now, what's a shooter producer?
Shooter producer is for the finale part.
Okay.
Where there's a one-on-one competition.
All right.
Where you're going for the final deal. You have someone who's doing the producing and video.
All right.
Okay. I had two storyline producers for Master of Arms, and I was like, oh, I thought one was bad. This is going to be... Master of Arms was a lot of fun. So I'm going to back up on the judge thing. So when I get there, I've had to have psych eval. I've had to have massive background checks. Reality TV is not necessarily real. Okay.
Right.
So let's say that you do your best. You are the best something.
All right.
And you get shot down. Now, for a lot of people, that is a huge... That's a huge blow to take. Okay. So now, how long is it before you go out behind the barn and
I never
take
thought
care
about
of
it. I mean, because it's nationally. I mean, this is
international. It is international.
Okay, it's a big deal. I never thought about that.
So a lot of people get upset about that, and some of them have some major issues afterwards because maybe what happened on TV isn't what happened in real life.
Right.
Okay. Television's entertainment.
Right.
All this, if you watch the news and they say, oh, tomorrow at 4:00, we're going to bomb something overseas. Do you really think they come off military secrets like that? No, but it's entertaining and it gets you going, hey, root for our team.
Right.
they're not giving away government secrets.
Right.
You know.
Right. Sure.
They don't
Sure.
do that.
Yeah.
So
You've got these two storyline.
yeah, we got the two storyline producers, so they're going to do what you give them is what they're going to roll with.
We'll either
So-
go with this or we'll go with that.
Right.
Yeah.
So during one of my many interviews prior to getting out there, they're like, so what do you do? You a badass? So I got these two chicks on camera going, hey, say you're a badass. And I'm like, this is either like a really bad date, a terrible porno, or God, okay, I want to go on this show.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What do you?
So I'm like, okay, I'm a badass, whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'll grab my vest and a few things like that, from some biker attire, and which at the time I think I was actually in between bikes because I couldn't ride for a bit after I got my back hurt in 2015. I'm back riding, and that's cool, and life is much better. But so I go out to be the badass,
right?
And I get out there, and one of my competitors is Shrek Gad, who is an amazing artist on just about everything he does.
Right.
On everything he does.
Right.
The competitor that I ended up going against for the final was Eric Carlson. I believe he was going by Eric von Oshwager.
Okay.
Apprentice gunsmith at Colonial Williamsburg. You remember the movie, the video I was talking about back in high school, the history in history class?
Right.
That's where he worked. All original equipment. This dude can run circles around you as far as gunsmithing. Amazing artist. I learned so much. Not winning the 10 grand there was worth it to learn what I did. And he's a cool dude.
And isn't that cool?
He kind of looks like Harry Potter, but he's a cool dude. Of course, I go on, and I'm not wearing my glasses. I wore sunglasses for the most part because they were using NC Tool forges. NC Tool forges run extremely hot, very bright, awesome equipment. We had great equipment, both shows.
Right.
So we're run with NC Tool forges. I got sunglasses on, and I always look like I'm pissed anyway.
Right.
Which really I just can't see. I'm a nice guy, it's like sunshine and rainbows. I'm awesome, I'll be your best friend, whatever, but I'll just cuss
you just
every
look
third
mad.
word.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
So we do our first the first part of that competition is to make a battle axe. Okay, we have 6 hours to do this, which is actually split up into two sections, 4 hours one day, 2 hours the next, because they do the tempering in between.
Okay.
Okay. That takes several hours.
Right.
So we go to do this, and I'm thinking, oh, well, I make axes. This should be okay. It was awesome. It was like at one point, my arms started cramping up and my hands drawing up because I was so dehydrated.
Oh, boy.
And they were throwing me bottles of water from off stage, and I was chugging them, pouring them over me, and they kept drinking
Well, yeah,
water.
that's something that people don't. I mean, the physical. It's not just the I don't know, emotional or mental aspect of it all, but dadgummit, yeah. I mean, you're banging away next to a
Yeah. So I'm thinking, wow, this is what they give people on Forged and Fire 40 hours to do. And we're going to do it in 6.
And you had 6.
Okay, I can do this. I got done. I was the first one done with that challenge. I had 5 minutes before the clock ran out. And during my interview, they asked me, they're like, well, you got done first. Well, didn't you think you should do any more? I'm like, done for me to have time. If I'd have got done 45 minutes early, I still was too close to that, to not finishing.
Right.
That simple.
Right.
But anyway, when the judges came out, I happened to recognize one of Trenton Ty, a friend of mine through Forged and Fire. And you can't interact or anything when you're on a show with judges and so forth. So I saw Trenton, and I'm like, okay, cool. And Zeke Stout, first time I met Zeke or Ashley Lubinsky. I may have just messed up her last name, and I apologize if I did, Ashley. You'll see Ashley on Outdoor Channel a lot.
Okay.
Yep. Really cool people, and basically from there, they did the elimination process. And Zeke's a big guy. I mean, and that's I mean, like, I've never actually seen what the top of a refrigerator looks like. So people who meet me in real life are like, dude, I thought you'd be taller. And it's like, yeah, so did my family. They were wrong. But, you know, I don't have to sit in a booster seat at McDonald's or anything.
Right,
but, you know, I'm not the tallest person in the world. By
Well,
any means.
you can't judge a man's character by their height.
No, but sometimes you still run over him because you were looking straight ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if everybody, it'd be nice to be, you know, 6'5" or whatever. But
I don't have
maybe.
to worry about hitting my head on rafters and attics.
There we
much,
go.
you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so like I thought I'd seen Trenton in the hotel lobby, which they put us up in really nice accommodations in Pennsylvania for Master of Arms. New York, you know, I mean, I was in a closet with the bathroom and some stuff.
So Forged and Fire's in New York.
Forged and Fire was in New York. I think it's in Connecticut now, I believe.
All right.
I could be wrong on that.
But the Master of Arms was
Master
in
of
PA.
Arms, they had us in full suites and everything. Indoor pool, hot tub, really good food. They're giving you a per diem every day or every couple of days, depending upon how far you get.
Wow.
So, like, you get out late, and I go over to this this little sports bar to get a hamburger and fries and lemonade because I'm a badass, remember?
Right,
You know?
yeah.
Hamburger, fries, and lemonade. I like lemonade.
Yeah.
But when I got out there, I happened to see who I thought might have been Trenton there, and I'm like, oh, hey, maybe he's going to be a competitor. Here, he ended up being a judge. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So I get out there, and they call me in. They, you know, hey, we're going to do some paperwork here, and I'm like, I signed all my contracts. Well, they have another contract for me to sign that states, you know, that your obligations afterwards, essentially. And one of the things it says on there is, you know, agree to never do an adult feature or photography, anything like that. So basically, you're not going to be in adult, you know, X-rated movies,
Right.
or you're not going to be in publications or
Right,
anything like
right.
that. And I'm like, okay, well, there goes my plans to end my TV career. You know, that would have been a good way to do it. But thanks, guys, for not giving me any options. So later on in the show, I was like, I'm having fun. We made it to the finals. I'm like, oh, I'm going to figure out how to make a flintlock axe pistol. I'm up against a guy from Colonial Williamsburg who does this stuff all the time.
It almost seems,
And might be Harry Potter. I don't know. This guy could be magical. So we get out there.
Well, you got to have fun with it.
Oh yeah. And I'm like, as long as I can get something put together here. Now he's turning out awesome work, and I'm like, we need contrast because we got the biker who's cussing every third word,
Right.
and breaking things, and then we have this dude who is an amazing craftsman right here. Now we both do really good work. It's just a matter of we have contrast. We don't have conflict. We have contrast.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, what do I do from here? I'm going to. He's doing a historic version with the blade on the far end. I'm going to do mine where you would grab, like if you're going to club somebody, you're going to beat somebody with a shotgun. I don't know if anybody has.
Right.
The best way to do that, one, make sure the gun is unloaded and then grab it by the barrel and club somebody with it. That's what I would recommend, but for legal purposes, I'm not going to recommend that.
Right.
Kind of like I said on the show, if you're going to pistol whip somebody, not that I ever have and got caught, but if you
It's so funny you say that. I'm a Wyatt Earp fanatic.
Right.
And, you know, he's the one that really, he came up with he started doing the pistol whipping, and how they have him showing it, like in movies, is not really how he did it. I read a whole thing one time.
A lot of people hit him with the barrel.
How he would actually hit him with the stock, the butt end of the stock. Like if you were going to hold it up and shoot it, he would take it, and then he was a tall guy. He was long and lean, and then he would come down and strike him with the butt end of the weapon.
Right. Yeah.
And he got really good at that.
Right. And,
But-
I mean, even if you look back to, Civil War or any time, muzzleloading muskets, rifles,
Right.
whether it was rifled or smoothbore, once you fired and you're close range, turn it around and beat somebody with it. You end up with a lot of broke stocks that way. And that was something I was looking at is the stock's going to break on this. I want to have that much reinforcement with that 69 caliber, a 20 gauge, essentially barrel on that thing to run the length. And I made mine very robust. There were some things I did to mine that if I was going to make a really good piece, I wouldn't have done. I needed something much like an ABS journeyman smith or master smith test. Journeyman smith test, let's say. I need something that is going to hold up to this performance,
Right.
to this activity, not to be a museum quality piece.
Right.
Eric turned out a museum quality piece. He also won. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
He's a great guy.
Right.
He did the best work.
Yeah.
Did his break? Yes. Did he turn out the most historically accurate? Yes. Had I known that we should turn out the most historically accurate,
You would have went a different way.
probably would have went a different route. At one point they were also talking about, they're like, we didn't know what to do because Dustin put his axe head on the far end, and there were flintlock axe pistols that were made that way.
Right.
Or like, so then we couldn't shoulder it. I'm like, oh, you said pistol, not carbine.
Right. There's
Okay,
yeah.
so if you want to go by legal definition or you want to go by technical definition, if I put a stock on this Beretta on my right hip, I now have a short-barreled rifle.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I have a short-barreled rifle. I have a carbine. I don't have a pistol anymore, a pistol being intended to be fired or can be fired by one hand.
Right.
Okay, something like this, I'm going, it's smoothbore, 69 caliber. Neither one of us put sights on our weapons. And I was like, okay, so you're going to hip shot this.
Right.
You're going to hip shot this. I made a plug bayonet for mine. I made a toolkit for mine. That never made it through editing.
Oh, wow.
But you remember when I was talking about this contract they made me sign after I
Right.
got out there? If you watch the episode, I end up doing a urine quench on the frizzen of my flintlock.
Really?
The first one I did, I was like, it's just not, I wasn't doing a long enough soak. I knew what I was doing. But you got to add to the story. Remember the storyline producers? Give them something to work with. So I'm like, okay, I was thinking about it. I'm like,
you're this biker tough guy.
right, and they made me sign a contract saying I wouldn't whip it out on camera.
Right.
Gotcha.
All right.
So I went to the bathroom, I pissed in the bucket, and went, and I knew that, using salt, a brine solution, you can harden steel. Being a 10 series, 1095, I know I've done this before. That's what the frizzen was. So I went ahead, I did that, and I'm like, hey, spark, it worked. Knew it would make it through. There's some stuff that didn't make it through, like when I made a voodoo doll of my competitor, Eric Carlson, and I was like, okay, I need an edge here because Eric's really kicking my ass here or whatever. Made a voodoo doll out of some rags and some tape, and I'm like, hey, Eric, when I smash this, I need you to scream and hold your hand. So, that didn't make it through editing.
Yeah.
The part where I set my crotch on fire didn't make it through editing, which I didn't actually, but from the view on camera, when I was using the sparks, it was shooting down between my legs while I was doing this, working on this piece. And Tom Phillips came up to me, the shooter producer, and he's like, dude, he goes, looks like you set your balls on fire. I'm like, that is hilarious. I said, go get a ladder, get a real good overhead shot. I said, I need water. So I got my water to drink sitting there, and I'm grinding away, and all of a sudden I look up straight ahead, not at the camera. I look up straight ahead, and I grab that, and it looks like I'm pouring water on my, didn't make it through editing.
So a lot of it, what I'm hearing as somebody that has the no knowledge of television whatsoever, a lot of it is the production.
A lot of it is production. It is all about marketing. Who makes it the farthest? The one who makes it the farthest generally is the most marketable because your target demographic, males 18 to 35 or whatever.
Right.
We need people who are entertaining, who have a skill set, but who are not, and I apologize, Ben Stein or possibly my high school math teacher. Mr. Webb was a cool guy, but he was monotone. I fell asleep in his class every time because it just did not. It's cool dude.
Bueller. Bueller.
monotone, and it
Yeah.
was difficult to stay mentally stimulated, especially when you're 16, 17, and all
Sure.
you're doing is
So they want a little more theatrics with it,
Absolutely.
which makes sense. I mean, what do you want to
That's
watch
what
on
it
television?
is.
Absolutely, it's a television production. So, and again, it sounds like you had a really good experience with
yeah.
that as well. So
I did.
So those you did both of them, and thumbs up, and
Yeah, everything was great. Now Cheyenne Brown, she was the third from my shop. She went on. She's most recent to go on. She was season 9, episode 5 on Forged in Fire. She took third place as well, like I did. And she helped. She's not a legal owner, but she is one of the co-owners at Axon Main Forge of Memory, our store in St. Elmo. So we have multiple businesses and all.
Right.
But yeah.
Anybody starting out that they want to get into this, what would be your key advice, and like maybe the tools?
Okay,
The
key
key
advice. One would be research it. Now, everything, anybody can put whatever online.
Sure.
I mean, and you've got to take it with a grain of salt. Instruction. I did produce an instructional DVD a few years back, and then everybody was like, everyone's doing digital downloads. I'm like,
I actually watched that.
yeah.
You gave me a copy of
Yeah.
it, and I actually watched the whole thing. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, and it's,
And that knife, the handle on that, gosh, that was beautiful. Man, is that beautiful. The way that you take the different materials and that
stack
red,
'em, and yeah.
and that, oh man.
You've got to have the organic flow to it, but you've also got to have, it's got to be visually, it's got to be aesthetically pleasing,
Yeah.
and it's got to be
that
functional.
was beautiful. Man, that really, because I watched it out here. And no, man, that was cool. That
Thank you.
that looked really, really nice. But back to the,
But
I didn't
for
mean to
beginners,
interrupt you,
like
but
now at our store at the Forge Memory locations, you can come in and you can forge your own knife. So it's railroad spikes, it's horseshoes, it's nail knives, things like that are not going to be your highest performing steel by any means. They're going to be tough steels.
but they can get their feet wet.
They can get their feet wet on it. It gives them an opportunity to try it out. A lot of people will go out and hey, I got a credit card, so I'm going to buy $10,000 worth of equipment. That's great because then I get to buy that at a discount if it don't work out for you. It happens many times. I have equipment walk in the shop pretty often. Hey, this is in the way. If you don't use an anvil, they're heavy. They're large, they're bulky,
yeah.
They're in the way. So we also try to make it available for other people. So if we can buy it right, we put it back out there, or we use it, or we have other people who can use it. It's all about networking.
Sure.
But as far as where to start, getting your feet wet. You got to get some steel hot. You got to hammer on some steel. Maybe you're not going to forge. Maybe you're going to do stock removal. So a lot of people I would have originally told, as far as blacksmithing, you need a hammer, an anvil, some tongs of some sort, and a heat source. That's pretty basic. If you're making knives, you're going to need, I'm going to recommend a 2x72 grinder. The belts, of course, associated with it.
Right.
A drill press. You're probably going to need a saw of some sort to cut handle material.
Right.
And I'm going to recommend a forge or heat treat oven. Now, if you're going to forge blades, let's go back to those original 4 and then add the others. If you want to do the very basic, that 3 Knives 3 Ways DVD, you can go that route. You can make a very basic knife with in the campfire, which when I was on Forge and Fire, so I'll never forget the words my dad told me. Damn it, boy, quit playing the damn campfire, because that's where I started.
Right.
I took we went and got some rocks or bricks and made a little fire ring, and I got enough of a bed of coals that I was feeding either with a blow tube, and that's where you take a pipe and you blow through it to stoke a fire, or I'd sit there with a piece of paneling or plywood and fan it. And that's what I did when I was younger. And then have a piece of steel and some channel locks and, a section of railroad track or I-beam. And then that claw hammer I was talking about.
Yeah.
Ball peen's at least a better, you usually have more weight with it.
Right.
but a means to mechanically manipulate that material. And you can, in the campfire, forge yourself a single-piece blacksmith knife or other implements with minimal tooling. And I'm planning on doing a video of that where I dig a hole. I'm going to use probably some bellows from a
just like a
air
fireplace
mattress or air mattress, actually, probably.
Right.
Connect that to a pipe going down into the fire pit. I've got a little stump anvil. You could put this in your pocket.
No kidding.
It's got a spike on the end that you put this into a stump. And they used them a lot for when they used to use the big sickles.
Yeah.
Those were soft. It had a high carbon edge, soft body generally, or a high carbon blade that was very soft, and then they would peen out that edge. Well, this is a very archaic means of doing things. Don't do it that way. Use good material and do the right heat treatment.
Yeah.
If they would have spring tempered it, it'd been fine. Back in the day when they were doing this stuff, they didn't have the metallurgical knowledge. And like I said, more than one way to get from point A to point B, it worked.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to use a little stump anvil. I'll have a hammer, a set of tongs, and, a piece of steel. I'm going to make a little blacksmith knife, show people how you can do that. And then I'll probably do, have some canola oil or vegetable oil there. I'll quench it in and then just do a draw temper. The draw temper is not what I would recommend doing, and that's basically where you bring your blade up to temperature or your piece of steel up to temperature. Maybe it's a chisel or a punch. You quench it, and then you're going to let heat migrate into that, or you're going to hold it into the fire until you start seeing oxide. That will kind of work, but when you need to transform martensite, which is the crystalline structure you create when you quench a blade, when you try to transform martensite into tempered martensite, and you have to hold at a specific temperature for an hour plus at a time, unless you're doing a quick snap temper similar to a draw temper, then you're not going to get what you want out. Will it work? Yes.
Right.
Is it what I'm going to sell you? No, it's not what I'm going to sell you because I want you to buy my stuff.
But for
and
somebody,
talk good about it.
It's showing that you can start with primitive
Absolutely.
means and turn out something. Like you said, if I come down to your place and buy it, I'm not buying that.
Right.
It's going to be, which I got one of your
you got one of
your trap
knives
knives there,
and
I've been really impressed with it. So where are you at? How can people get a hold of you? I could sit here and talk to you all day. I know you've got some stuff that you've got to do.
What time is it? I've got another 10-15 I can go for.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But we're located at 409 North Main in St. Elmo, Illinois, just off Interstate 70 or Route 40.
Yep. How can they get a hold of you?
You can find us online on Facebook. You can look up Axon Main Forge Memory. My phone number, 217-690-0441. We have a lot of people text, coming through. Nope, I just drew one card.
Yeah, I've got your card right here.
And
I've been in your shop, and it's really cool. I would recommend that for anybody just to go down there. If you're ever in the south central part of Illinois, just go down there. What are your hours?
Hours vary. Generally, 3 to 8 Monday and Monday and Tuesday, 3 to 8.
Okay.
Wednesday and Thursday we usually do by appointment because that's when I'm at my home shop working on more advanced projects and getting stuff finished up for live auctions on Facebook.
Okay.
Fridays generally noon to 8, Saturdays 10 to 8, and noon to 6 on Sundays. And a lot of times we're there later. I own the property, so it's not like I'm not working at the plant going, God, I hate being here. I want to go home. It is home.
Right. How can people? You said that there's a live auction on Facebook.
Yeah, we usually do Thursday nights around 7:30 Central Time. We'll do live auctions where some of it we'll put up our prime items before they go on the book, so to speak.
Okay.
where you can buy it now at a discount. I don't have to advertise it if you want it. And we'll do reserve. We'll do buy it now at times. But we also we'll take a lot of our seconds. So, hey, you want to buy a knife from a guy who has been on Forged in Fire. I watched him. Wow, I'd really like one of his pieces. I can't afford $800 or $1,200 for one of his Bowie knives. But hey, he made one of the horseshoe knives, similar to one of the experiences we do at Axon Main Forge of Memory.
Sure.
And you can pick that up. You can pick that up for, I mean, a very reasonable price, and maybe even less than what it's going to cost you to make one in the store.
Right.
Just because.
And that's been made by you.
That's been made by me.
And it'll be a basic knife. Again, this isn't your top quality pieces, but it's a functional piece.
It's going to be a functional piece.
And if somebody wants a custom knife,
and if you want an autographed PR photo with it, I'll send you one. Maybe you want to. Maybe your nephew watches the show and really likes it, and you want to buy him something for his birthday. Get a hold of us,
Yeah, and if they want to come down and have you teach them how to do it, you do that.
We do the forging experiences, and if after this, if I can talk a little bit about Forge Memory, that would be really cool.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I just want to make sure I get that in there because your shop is really cool. And then you've also got the knife throwing, the axe throwing, and all that. You teach people how to throw, and it's a really laid back, easygoing environment.
You're not pretty casual.
Yeah, you're not there barking at anybody.
We'll help you out. Make sure you're sticking, but we want people to have fun. We want to give them an alternative to smoking meth and eating fentanyl.
Amen. God bless you for that, too.
Yeah, and thank you. And we also have the Main Street Patio. It's a 501c3. It's not a city-owned property, so, we could go over there and have a beer, and we don't get a ticket for it. Also, I own the property. I don't tell people it's private property, because the first thing you say private property is you don't go there,
Right.
No, it's not a city-owned property. It is there for community use.
Right.
And
that's cool.
We had our little Eclipse Festival there Monday, so that was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea is to give back to the community.
Yeah, and you're doing that, and it's really neat. And now you also do custom pieces. Like if somebody would call up and say, "Hey, I've got an idea for a knife. I want the handle made out of maybe it's a deer they shot." Or whatever.
We've done restorations. We've done we do a lot of custom work. I mean, most of our work's custom work, really. Occasionally, we'll do some small scale production. And then actually something I really should mention is Turtle Island Preserve.
Okay.
Eustace Conway from Mountain Men on History Channel. He has a Turtle Island Preserve in Boone, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Cheyenne and myself, we have the honor, really. I mean, and I don't use that phrase a whole lot, of teaching down there. And we'll be down there September, I want to say it's 21st, 22nd. It's my birthday weekend. He's in North Carolina.
Okay.
And so we go down there and we teach bladesmithing classes with Robbie Bowman. Robbie Bowman's Forged in Fire alumni.
Okay.
Seasons 3 and 4, episodes 5.
All right.
So there'll be 3 of us from Forged in Fire down there teaching.
Awesome.
And if we can get out of Illinois, get a little further south, we'll probably go there more often.
Sure.
Great people down there, amazing place, and it's like they show on TV. There's no trash cans. You don't bring in trash. There's no trash, and it's very peaceful. People pretty mellow down there, and but at the same time, people like that who enjoy their freedom, you don't push.
That's right.
Do not push.
Well, I believe our founders had a flag before. It was named after a colonel. I believe his name was Gadsden. And it kind of showed a coiled up snake.
Don't tread on me.
And it just said, "Don't tread on me." And what a beautiful statement.
Absolutely.
You do you over there, and God bless you. I don't agree with what you're doing, but that's okay.
We don't have to hate each other if our opinions differ.
That's right, man. And we're fine with that, but just don't tread on me. Right. Yeah. What a simple.
You need some help, I'll be glad to come over and help you. We
don't have to have the same religion. We don't have to have the same politics, the same whatever. Right. But But, and that used to be normal in this country, that we loved our neighbor. I mean, and now it's, we don't want to get into any of that.
You're right. But I completely
yeah.
agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And then, now Robbie, he started Forge Memory down in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Actually, I think he started Smoky Mountain Knife Works many, many years back, and then got his shop, Iron Mountain Metalcraft.
Okay.
Robbie has started the Forge Memory Foundation, the Forge Memory family there.
Okay.
And, there's actually a website now, which I've got to get some content finished up and sent in. We had some technical issues, so I was having trouble getting that in. But we're in the process of getting some video done for that. It helps people who want to learn about bladesmithing, blacksmithing, leather making, jewelry making, all of this awesome stuff. Another way, hey, if you're a beginner, get a hold of Robbie at Iron Mountain Metalcraft and check out Forge Memory, because he started that. Now there's locations in Pigeon Forge, Sevierville, Tennessee. We've got our location.
Is he down in Branson by chance? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
I think that's Joe. That's Silver Anvil.
We went into
Yeah. And now Joe's. I believe he's Forge Memory as well.
All right.
I'm very certain of it. I believe he.
So it's kind of a network.
It is. There's a lot of networking.
There's a lot of brotherhood in this too,
absolutely.
isn't there? Instead of the competition,
well,
it's a friendly.
Yeah, you say competition. A lot of people say competition with Forged and Fire and Master of Arms. There is a competition, but it's not a competition against each other. You're all trying to turn something out. It's a competition on yourself, your skills, what you can turn out in that time. And,
That's like anything. I'm sure there's times you turned out a piece and you're like, man, look at this. I am happy with this.
Right.
And then other times it might be like, that probably didn't quite turn out the way. I mean, at your
That's
stage.
right. And that you can get that at a discount on my Thursday night auctions.
Awesome.
I tell people, I say, hey, in my shop, we do not make mistakes. Never have. Now, last minute design changes, yes, we have done that, but no, we never made a mistake, and we laugh about it because everyone makes mistakes.
Sure. Well, and it's like the old mountain men thing, lost. I ain't never been lost. I was a mite confused for about 3 months.
For about 3 months, yeah.
But I was never lost.
Exactly.
Yeah. So awesome. Is there anything else you want to throw out there?
I think that's a couple events we'll be teaching at Turtle Island in September.
Okay.
Which will also be my birthday weekend. So, hey, come down. And then Cheyenne's birthday weekend, we will be down at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. So the Iron Mountain Metalcraft Forged and Fire Grudge Match this year will be October 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Okay.
At Smoky Mountain Knife Works.
Awesome.
There's going to be competitive forging. Be sure to check out Iron Mountain Metalcraft online. Search it. Check it out. Go by. See Robbie.
Awesome.
It's just awesome. It's amazing. So, but man, I really appreciate you having me and all.
Dustin, you don't know how much I appreciate this. I really do. And I hope someday you can come back and we can do it again.
Sounds like a plan.
Awesome. All right. You take care, brother.
Later.
All right. Bye.